Ladies, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. In our village, the most important stories aren't told. In the bright sun, they are told. At the dark, where nobody can see. Under the baobab, when the air is still and the truth can breathe. Today I have a story that has the West trembling. It is a story of a journey from the red dust of Ouagadougou to the frozen streets of Moscow. Our brother foreign minister, Karamako Arin Traore. He went to sign a deal that has changed the fate of the Sahel forever. And this is keeping the West awoke at night. They're having sleepless nights, thinking, because now the African has risen, the African has chosen a new path. But what is it in this path is what they're asking themselves. It happened fast. On the 12th of February, the world went out. The world went out. The Burkina Faso delegation was in Moscow. The West was asking, why now? Sergei Lavrov, the veterinary Russian diplomat, stood there with a smile. He said this visit happened at a very short notice. Do you hear that? When the brothers have urgent business, they don't wait for any invitation. They move. But what was in those documents? Why were they in such a hurry? The suspense was thick enough to cut with a machete. The West can't sleep because they are so terrified. They just can't believe what is happening. And now, brothers don't even give invitation to each other. They go or they move. They call it historic. And for once, the world wasn't exaggerating. They signed the agreement on the foundation of relations. This isn't just paper, family. This is the bedrock. The Intergovernmental Commission, they have set up a direct line for trade and economy. No middlemen, no Papa France to check the receipts. The nuclear promise, Burkina Faso has just joined the Vietnam Convention. Why? Because Rosatom is coming.
Faso, we decided to accelerate the signing of a whole range of fundamental documents, which will constitute the foundation of our future strategic relations. This is a real practical contribution to the implementation of those agreements, which were reached between our leaders, including during the visit of President Ibrahim Traore to the Russian Federation in May. In connection with the celebrations of the 80th anniversary of victory in the Great Patriotic War. One of the specific issues that needs to be resolved, so that the President's agreements are implemented in the economic sphere as well, is the speedy start of the work of the Intergovernmental Commission on Trade and Economic Cooperation. From our side, a co-chair has already been appointed. This is Minister of Energy, Sergei Tsivilev, and I am confident that this year we will be able to start the work of this important mechanism. And, of course, cooperation in the military technical sphere, fight against terrorism, other threats, which persist, unfortunately, in this part of the African continent, remains our most important priority as well. And the way military personnel of our two states interact is truly an example for many others. I will also note our interaction at the United Nations. It is without exaggeration exemplary. We thank you for supporting Russian initiatives aimed at stabilizing the international situation, and we especially note your balanced, objective, honest position on the Ukrainian crisis. The last thing that I wanted to say at this stage of our meeting is the necessity in the conditions of the unleashed by the West information war against all states that promote an independent and sovereign policy. It is important to establish closer interactions in the information sphere. A whole range of Russian resources are present and actively working in Burkina Faso, in countries neighboring you, and we probably can instruct our respective colleagues to outline practical steps so that this work is conducted more actively and more broadly allowed, conveying the truth about our approaches to the world community. These are the enabling agreements, which will allow us to start such a big construction, if one can say so. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you for this support, and especially for providing, which was adopted, so that we could finally set these important goals. In the case of construction between Russia and Burkina Faso, I understand that the time for preparing the mission indicates how important that President Ibrahim Traoré agrees with this issue. We hope that the speed with which we are signing these agreements demonstrates that our President Ibrahim Traoré pays very great attention to these dossiers. President Ibrahim Traoré. I would like to congratulate and thank Russia for the support, not only in Burkina Faso, but also in the alliance of Sahel states, because I know that you are one of the countries which officially recognized the alliance of Sahel states as an entity. We had our municipal meeting here, thanks to your good deeds and your great works, which you were able to do. I would also like to congratulate you and tell you that we would like to know about the responsibility for your service. I met Madam last year with my brothers from Mali and Nigeria. For us, this is a signal about Russia. That we must consolidate our relations as an alliance of the Sahel states and Russia. To be continued. We considered President Putin and Traoré. He is in the process of years. But we still have a lot of work.
That is positive every day. And moreover, this was confirmed by President Traoré this morning. We know that during the last century, there was political decolonization, but still there was no process of economic decolonization, and ultimately neo-colonial practices still remain.
The African continent in the end of last century, but
Our relations since President Traoré took power have developed well, are going well, and moreover our relations have never had a colonial character. We have cooperation in many fields: the health field, the education field, the economy, the military field, and technical field.
equal cooperation in this wide range
And these relationships are based on mutual respect, which can be undertaken to effectively implement the agreements that were reached by the two presidents.
These ties are based on.
Thank you very much. We now welcome our friends from the Russian press for their questions. Thank you very much, Antoine Clairau from the RT channel in French. First of all, thank you for your welcome. Thank you to the Burkina authorities for their welcome. I had the chance a year ago to interview the president of the transition Ibrahim Traoré on the occasion of the Russia-Africa Forum, and on this occasion, he had a lot of expectations in the cooperation between Russia and Burkina Faso. The impression is that during the whole year that has passed, there have already been many things that have come true. So I would like to know what concretely was achieved during this past year, and then what are your expectations regarding the future of this cooperation between Russia and Burkina Faso? Since the last forum in St. Petersburg, our two heads of state have defined priorities which are driven by the necessity and the need to strengthen cooperation between Russia and Burkina Faso. And if you have followed the logic since that date, strong actions have continued to take place, and as they say, the best evidence of dynamic cooperation is seen in facts. And that's why just after St. Petersburg, we attended the opening of the Russian embassy here in Ouaga, which was in the past covered by the Russian embassy based in Abidjan. We also witnessed the very recently appointment of a resident ambassador in Ouagadougou, which therefore reinforces the logic of the momentum which has been defined since St. Petersburg. Beyond that, as you know, we have cooperation which has taken off again since this last summit in various areas. You know that in terms of security, our two countries have taken enormous steps, and we had an interesting working session yesterday with Minister Lavrov, during which we agreed on the need to accelerate the diversification of commercial exchanges, and also the expansion of trade volumes, to be in conformity with the orientations which were given by the heads of state. You followed the minister's testimony on the subject of professional training and university training, for which Russia has defined a certain number of scholarship quotas, which will have to evolve in the agricultural field.
Imagine it! The land of upright men, powered by its own nuclear energy, light in every village. They finalized their military technical cooperation. Russia pledged to keep providing the technical fire needed to clear the Sahel of those who wish us harm. And this is the part that these people cannot sleep after hearing this. Because Russia pledging they will never allow anybody to harm the leaders and the people in the Sahel, keep these people awoke all night. But wait, there is a twist. Lavrov looked Marin in the eyes and spoke about the information war. He said 90% of Russian diplomats expelled from Europe are being redeployed. Where? To Africa. Russia is opening a dozen new embassies. They are coming to help us tell our own truth, because the West has controlled the microphone for far too long. They are building a digital shield to match the iron shield. The West controlled the narrative to their benefit for a very long time, to the point that the African can no longer believe in his or her own narrative. And this is the reason to which we are where we are, because we have been misled. In the village we say, when the hunter's dog finds a new master who gives him better meat and more respect, the old master shouldn't complain. He should have treated the dog better. And this is the reason to which we are seeing these people moving into Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso day in, day out. Because they're trying to see how best they can come. But these people always come with the same old approach. Aid, aid, aid. As if the African cannot survive. What is food security? When we are feeding ourselves, we are not hungry. We are not homeless. We have people in Europe, we have people in America who are homeless, who are more hungry than us. But us, we have food to eat. So why do these people come with the same old story? But we always prove to these people, we are no longer looking for this kind of cheap and things that do not benefit us. These are not democratic elected leaders who always think that charity, aids are all that they need before they can run their countries. It's not everybody who even see this aid to feed on, because like everybody feeds himself. Come to my place and see, we eat and then we even throw food away. We don't need aid to survive. And this is something that these people are still finding it so difficult to understand. That the African has chosen a new path. A path to sovereignty. A path that we want to be our own masters. Russia is not dictating to us. Russia is not feeding us. Russia is teaching us how to fish and feed ourselves. These people always make sure they keep the African dependent. Look at the nuclear energy. Look at all the things Russia is helping us to get. The refinery, the technical know-how to control everything. But these people always make it look as if everything is too complex when it comes to the black person. But we know when it comes to all the things that these people have, blacks are behind. Without us, they can never do anything. But they turn the narrative to make it look as if we can't do anything. And that's Russia is changing it. And Russia is sending a very strong warning that if you touch these leaders, you have touched Russia. These people always want to keep the African backwards, keep us dependent, keep us begging, so they can continue to come into the country. They don't ever want us to have any know-how when it comes to our resources, because they believe that they are too complicated. What brains do you have that everything is easy when it comes to you, and African can't have that to mine our own resources, can't refine our own resources? Russia is a true friend, because a true friend will always teach you how to fish, so that when they are not there, you don't go hungry. Unlike these ones who always claim they want to fish for us, because they love us so much, they don't want us to suffer. Everything must be what they will do for us. It's like our responsibility is not on their head. They have to do everything for us. Don't worry yourself to think about anything. We are always there for you. Russia is telling you, even your shadow disappears at a point in time. That is why we will always love Russia. Whether they come or not, we can never ask them not to come. The doors are opened, but we will always choose our partners, because we know who are our true friends, and we know how to move with our friends. We say, long live Russia, long live Vladimir Putin. So, we are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.